for the synthetic mandem.
Good point. Great point. Yeah? That's a good point. I missed that one. For real.
There's one footman, There's one footman working on a synthetic mandem.
That's not what I'm talking. I'm not talking about people who need the synthetic. I'm talking about people who use synthetic as enhancement. Everything's got to be in its perspective. There's a reason for that technology. And big up Kwaku, who just told me about Rosewood. Rosewood was the other town they destroyed. They're not letting you... How dumb have you become? They're not. Don't you see? They're not letting you do anything that allows your independence. It's not going to happen. Not in their states. Not in Britain. Not in France. Not in America. So you keep talking like that. What happens is you create your capitalistic, your white version of them. You become like them. You become Europeanized intellectually. You become, as you just said, soulfully. So, people. We're not going to, you and I will never do a job where we're going to dash people out their house and say, go on television and go, well, I don't know what they're talking about. I'm just doing my job. You know what I'm saying? This is what they do. Anytime they do something like you chop off some of them, I'm just doing my job. That's right. The Nazis, if you change their language, they would have said, yeah, I was murdering Jews because I was just doing my job. Yeah, everybody wants to use it as if, so that means that if you're allocated something... Serious. If you're allocated something by this artificial system or these people, you must do it. And anyhow you're doing it, you're serving that. So that somehow that negates you from your soul or your moralistic interpretations or whatever.
This thing about artificialness, and it is so much now prevailing every single day.
And because you're being... Don't you understand what colonization is?
Because when we see... I was speaking to someone yesterday, and I'm like, honestly, we forget about feeling, the feeling.
Yeah, of course.
And like educational intelligence is a two different
emotional
thing.
Intelligence.
Yeah.
And psychological intelligence.
And I'm like, regardless of, okay, you're going to give what is due to whoever, you know what I mean?
What is due to Caesar?
I don't feel, because when I look around, I see the birds are doing the same thing they were doing 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
100 years ago.
The dogs, are still going out there playing, and they leave with us at home. Ain't nothing wrong with them. The trees, we've been in this sort of situation for about over a year now. We've seen the 3 different kind of seasons come, and all the nature out there functioning the same.
And it will function the same until... hold on, sorry to cut you. I have to cut you because I hear you. But... That's what they're doing. They're destroying the ecology. Whoever these beings or people are that reside or these people are working for, they want to, what they call terraform, right? So what they're telling you is that the planet is overcrowded. Who? Did you go around counting them? They can tell you anything, and then all of a sudden you believe, oh yeah, how is it? Because what? Because the city's overcrowded. The city's overcrowded is because you keep going to other people's countries and bombing them out.
Talking about overcrowding.
And then let me just finish this point. That's how they create capitalism. I said to this years ago. I said that the only way capital survives is with slave labor and immigrants. And it's European. So every so often they have to create a problem in another country so they can get a flood of immigrants so that they can work for nothing or to cheap or cool. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get it. Ask even the British public. Oh, even Poland, even their own race of immigrants they get who work cheaper. That's the whole point of capitalism. Instead of it being private, which it defines itself as land or business in the hands of private people, it becomes the land in the people and land in the hands of abusers, people who abuse. You earn 10 grand a week. You got two workers that work in your little company, and you only pay them £10 an hour, and you can afford to pay them £20 an hour. But in order to keep capitalism going and the separation going, you will only pay them 10 because you want them to work for forever, or maybe 5 if you can get it down that low. You know what I'm saying? So it's an abusive concept, which is about breaking people down and regurgitating them as slaves. This is what this guy's talking about. It's saying this is how they follow you and turn you into that. So regardless of whether they're black, poor, is what they're trying to create, a race of poor people, a nation, because too many of the poor people have mixed in with blacks. This is what you can see what they did to this girl, the mixed race girl with the red. Too many of the poor people are mixed in black, so that some of their collateral damage will be white people when they're going to turn you out, because you become too emotional. Emotional is what you could cry. Oh, you're too. If you see space programs, anytime you're emotional, they say you're too human. You understand? The human failing is. So you mustn't. So it's not saying the dogs failing, like, it can't talk. It just barks. Fuck the dog.
Oh, easy.
Sorry. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, later for that dog. You know what I mean? Because it barks. It doesn't talk. And by saying to a human's got, it's too emotional. That's like saying the same thing.
I mean,
It's
also,
rubbish.
I mean, when you look at this period that we're in, because it's because of the period that we're in that we're talking about this book, and I think we're going to be doing this again. Well, this is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then this is by consent.
Deterioration of humanity.
So even though one will feel within himself whether it's right or wrong, it makes sense or it doesn't make sense, what we're doing, we're following the science, as we've just been...
Well, but it's lies
in the books.
Right. But there's only two skeletons in existence, right? Apart from some of the ones that they've called of the aliens with the elongated heads, and they lie about them, right? There's only male skeletons of it. So anything you say you are on top by dressing up as a woman and taking injections as a woman, and you're a man, your skeleton is still going to be a man. Your original hormonal system will still be a man. There's only two types of skeletons. There's not 4, 5, 6, 10, or what they say about genders. There ain't 100 gender skeletons, yeah? So they're introducing something slowly in order to introduce another life form I might not be here to see it. But why would you want to start to in entire history? The only thing that could be here on Earth is other life forms. You can't turn human beings into other life forms. It will be another life form. So the idea that they're slowly getting rid of humanity and attacking, you know, this other island with the Zika virus and all that, they're going along the world. They've attacked Africa with the Ebola. These are man-made diseases that somebody, a European, not an African, a European has sat down in a lab and painted it and said, and you can find these paintings online. This is a disease I'm going to make up, and I'm going to put it in the black community and rinse them. Yeah, and they're going to die. All their adults are going to die. So all the wisdom is going to go. Then they're going to try and make the children who ain't got no sense think that they're someone because they're wearing Dolce & Gabbana glasses made from some French homosexual, yeah? Just two homosexual men. Yeah, and it doesn't mean because they're homosexual. It means because you're buying into something that you have no idea about, because on one hand you're saying you're a bad man or you're a tough guy, and they don't go together. So how... That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you can do whatever you want. That's your business. What I'm saying is that you can't then say, I'm a tough guy and I'm a bad man, but I wear batty man clothes. You know what I'm saying? You've got to work out if you're a tough guy or a bad man first. And if you're not that type of bad man, so, you know what you're doing. So stupid people have stupid children. So what we're getting is an influence of these dances on music. And remember, there are guys who've put out like 2 or 3 tunes and are driving 3 or 4 cars and have got diamond this and that. So where are they getting this type of money from? That means that what people are not understanding is the covert operations of European intelligence and how they manage to manipulate you and your kind, our kind, into certain things, like having guys who can barely spell their name, who have this rhythm of rap, to be chargers for young adults who have to go to school and have nobody else to turn to because they've got the power. They control all the music. There's nothing that black people control in music. They can tell, I got my label and all that, but you don't have distribution. Your income comes from the bigger, the free, Universal or BMG or whatever they are. You only, Sony, you don't have your own money. And then you show off on black people like a slave. Yeah, I bought the newest Bugatti. Yeah, I don't know, I got 15 road. Like, that's what you want to impress on black people, because you're a slave, you're a dunce. Yeah, because somebody, and that person's meant to be that way. But what we then need to have is other people who own radio stations and TV stations and have steel businesses, and that's what we need to have to create a power base. You can't get a power base off of rappers. Are you dumb? How dumb have we become? Rappers can't give you power.
If you look at the trend that is happening right now, is that musicians are now becoming politicians. It is very...
That's not now. That I was talking about this 15 years ago. I'm saying to you, this is what you're going to do. Yeah. And comedians. How can you have a comedian who sees life in a comedic way represent your views of your people?
Again, if the political system is built upon false representation, then it's comedic for somebody.
No, what it is, yeah, exactly.
So the people that are going to be running it is people who are making people laugh. I mean, because when you laugh, you forget about...
Right, the truth and the reality. Yeah. But what I'm saying to you is that they push them forward as leaders and representation and And I'm not saying that they can't be. What I'm saying that is not enough of it. That means that there must be a plan afoot if it's only them. You know, people like me. Why can't somebody like me exist? Well, you know what I'm saying? Because Somebody like me should, because in the white version of the world, there's hundreds of us, hundreds of them. Alex Jones, this, that, and the other. You know, how comes they can have? You see what I'm trying to say to you? So if you don't think it's a European sort of mandate to control black people across, then you've missed the point.
Yeah, but again, I think what we're doing here is also, you know, Marimba Annie talks about this, looking at things from our African point of view. And I think it's necessary because everybody has a view. And I really want to say thank you very much to, Dr. A, because we can go till midnight and, you know, like I said, you know, we can create our own, you know, behold the pale.
But after a while it becomes non-productive anyway, like what I've learned, you know, after a while it's just talk. So it's good so people can sit down and absorb some of the stuff. Yeah. Is it going to be online at any time?
Yeah, it's going to be online. Yeah. I mean, people can look, this is going to be up again on Mixcloud and like all the shows there.
And you can send me a copy,
catch up.
If you don't mind.
Definitely. And also, I mean, we can have you back here because I did have a recording of you, I don't know, about 20 years ago. When we was on Genesis and when we used to do the Talk 24, I had a copy of most of the presenters, and one day I'm going to come here and surprise you with them.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
So you can hear